Hello, welcome back. My name is Jen, and I am the maker behind Space for Sunflowers, a crafty hand knit and crochet business that's cheerfully hand knit and crochet business. I had somebody ask me once if it's always cheerfully knit and hand knit and crocheted, and my answer to that was, of course. The stress is what makes it itchy. So that's me. I am not crocheting today, as you can see. I am knitting today. And this week's video is going to be a little bit different from the past couple of weeks, if you've been here for the past couple of weeks, in that I do not have a market this week. I do not have a market next week. I have a couple weekends off before my final 2 markets of 2025. And I am going to be talking through my strategy for planning for these markets, my strategy, start to talk about, although we have plenty of time before the end of the year to talk about my strategy going forward into 2026 with my markets, as well as just some check-ins as I make things. So today I am working on, it's Friday, I should probably start with that. Today is Friday, November 21st. Happy birthday to What's Up Cupcake, Christine. It's her birthday today. I am knitting. I'm working on hats, my rib knit hats, because I have noticed at my markets that the rib knit hats are the ones that tend to sell first, because I think of the price point I have them at. As I knit this hat, I'm realizing that that price point is probably too low for the amount of time and the cost of the materials that it takes me to knit this hat, but this is also the first time I've picked up the knitting needles in a couple of weeks, and it's my first hat that I am making today. So usually that does take a little bit longer than once you get into the flow of things. But that said, I'm working on making a knit beanie at the moment. This pattern is from Nori Chan. Oh God dang it if I get the name wrong. Okay, so Nori Chan, I had it right the second time. Nori Chan knits, and it's called the Hipstamatic. It's a very simple rib knit beanie. She offers 2 different lengths for it. You can make the beanie size or you can make a slouchy size. For markets, I've only ever brought the beanie size because it takes a significant amount of time at the price point that I sell them at to make. I have been selling these hats at $20 even. I think I will probably be raising that price to $24, given that it does take me a little bit longer than I had thought to make these hats. And I'm also now this year paying a lot more attention to how long things take me to make versus last year when I was just dipping my toe into this whole in-person craft markets, crafty business, side hustle adventure thing. And now it's definitely becoming something that I'm taking a whole lot more seriously. I would like to do more markets. I would like to have more of a cohesive strategy when it comes to picking my markets, because I would like to have markets that I frequent. I get asked every single market lately if I'm always at this location, if I'm going to be coming back, and the answer right now is no, I'm not always at any location because I'm still figuring out which markets are the right markets for me. But after this year, I definitely have some ideas. I have some organizers that I would like to keep working with and pursue their markets. I have some locations that I have really enjoyed working in, and yeah, so it's definitely going to be as I move into 2026. I won't, working on that answer no longer being no, but yes, I am at this market every month, or every month I can get in, for that matter. So that's the goal. What else am I doing in prep for this week? In prep this week for my next market. I am keeping myself accountable and honest because I am so distracted by all of the fun, festive new makes and designs that are just flooding my feeds right now on Instagram, on YouTube, on Pinterest, on all the places. And I really need to rein it in because at the end of the day, I have 2 markets left this year. And that was intentional. I took the 2 weeks off, the last 2 weeks off in November because Thanksgiving, I would like to be present for Thanksgiving. I realized not participating in Small Business Saturday was probably an egregious oversight. However, newish to the space, still learning, still figuring it out. I'm giving myself a little bit of grace when it comes to not picking up a Small Business Saturday gig this year because I didn't know what I was going to be doing this fall until the summertime. I had started the markets business. Well, I'd started the business and started participating in markets last fall. I was coaching soccer at the time. I had to work around the soccer schedule. It was a lot easier then because we were in the tail end of the soccer season and then the market season picked up. I also stood outside and froze my rear end off at a couple of outdoor markets in December that were absolutely freezing. So I learned my lesson there. But then this past spring, when I would normally have been figuring things out, learning the markets that I would want to frequent more often, and all of that, I was basically out of commission in terms of participating in markets because I was coaching soccer yet again for another season. When the season ended, it was summer. It was hot. It was not the time of year that I wanted to be standing outside hauling inventory and product every weekend. I did participate in some markets over the summer and they were great. I enjoyed them. I love summer. I love everything about summer. However, standing under a tent, especially if you have to put the walls up because of sun in the summer, hoping that your fan has enough charge to last the event, and people don't come out in the droves that they do in the fall because of the heat if it's an outdoor market. So all that to say, this fall is really the time that I'm leaning in and I'm learning these things because I was coaching soccer. I had other priorities and I didn't know if I was going to be coaching soccer this season. My son wanted me to continue to coach soccer. However, I did not need to. I volunteered, but they did not need me coaches for the level he is at this season, or this past season. So that freed me up. I was able to refocus my energy back toward this business, and that's where we are. So all that to say, that is why I did not plan for a small business Saturday market. I didn't know what my schedule was going to be perfectly honest. And I didn't want to overcommit myself and then have to back out later. I'd rather just see if I could pick things up as I go and play it by ear for this year. And then next year I will make the more strategic decisions on the markets. So all that to say, I am trying to stay incredibly conscious of the fact that I have 2 markets remaining in this season. One is a private market. I was invited by a law firm to participate in their annual Christmas market at their office, which was a huge honor. The organizer had met up with me at another market I had done earlier in the late summer, early fall season. It was the tree light market that I had done in Wendell, which is definitely a market that I am interested in pursuing more of next year. But she had seen my booth, had asked about a card, took a card, reached back out to me, and extended an invite to their office holiday market, which, like I said, is a huge honor. I was so taken aback and grateful to be asked to participate in this. I have never done this market before, obviously. It is invite only. So I am hopeful that it will be a good market, that given that it's a dedicated audience in an office building, that it will be the people who show up will be ready to shop, versus other events that I have done, which are more like open to the general public and people, you get a lot of shoppers, but also just curious people walking around to see, oh, hey, what's this? Which is great as well. But for the Christmas season, I am excited to have a dedicated, like, this is a market, this is for shopping, it's very specific. So I'm excited for that. And then my second market that I have before the end of the year remaining is the Fa La La Festival at a area in Raleigh called Lafayette Village. I had done this market with Christine last year, and it was the best market of the year that I participated in last year, and that was when we were splitting a booth. So this year I will be participating in it solo, and I'm so excited to once again participate in this market. I've been looking forward to this one. So with those two in mind, I am keeping myself accountable by having printed out lists. So I organize my inventory by a theme and a season. And I've ignored the themes for now. And I have just printed out the items. And I also have, when I put in my inventory to my system, I can put the desired quantity that I want to have, so a reorder point. So I did that for all of my inventory as I was entering it in, and what I did is I looked up anything that I currently have in this inventory that has a quantity desired. Is it quantity desired or quantity to order? I think it's a quantity to order. Yeah, it's a quantity to order value of not 0. So anything where the quantity available does not match the quantity desired, does not match or exceed the quantity desired, I can generate a list of just those things, and I can do it by season. So I did it for all of my winter themed items, which is the shorter list, not winter themed, but winter season items, and then my year round items, since I have quite a few items that I just simply offer year round. And that is going to be the driving force behind what I make between now and then in these next 2 weeks. I am going to really hone in on checking these things off my list so that I have plenty of inventory and I have plenty of known inventory to sell at these markets. So that is why I am working on knitting a ribbed hat today. I had originally tried to make this yarn, which is Forever Fleece from Bernat. It is incredibly soft. I had originally, you can see that there's some ends in there that will be woven in and cleaned up when this hat is done. But I had originally worked at the last market I was at, which was the Raleigh Foodie Fair, on making this a granny square beanie, since I also need to replenish those. And this yarn, I normally make the granny square beanies out of a worsted weight yarn, and this yarn is I think, super chunky weight. It's definitely not worsted. I'm almost positive it's a super chunky weight. I figured, I can modify the granny squares. I can make them a little bit smaller, less rounds. I put the hat on this morning. It was massive. I mean, It was comically massive. So I frogged that, and which I'm not mad about because it gave my hands something to do while I was at the foodie fair during downtime. If I wasn't zhuzhing my booth or talking with customers, I was able to keep my hands busy. One lady came in and called me out and was like, "Oh, look at you. You're just making sure we all know. Yes, you make all this." And I was like, "Well, I'm a fidgeter. I can't just stand still." So, yeah, I'm fidgeting productively fidgeting. So that was good. It served its purpose at the market. So I wasn't upset to frog it and make a hat. This is the pattern that I wanted to make with this yarn when I bought it. So if the other hat had worked out, it would have been a pleasant surprise, but the fact that it didn't is neither here nor there, really, for me. I'm not mad about it. I've also been working on my first official paid pattern, which I am still trending toward release after the market season is over. Well, release for tester call. And that is for my crossbody sling for the water bottles. So I worked up another test yesterday. This one was made with mandala, Lion Brand mandala in the Chimera colorway. And I did end up balling the different colors. So it fades as you go through the skein. It fades through all of these colors all the way down to like a red. It's like a full, complete muted rainbow. But I started with the gold and just worked my way through the colors that the pattern required. Well, work through the colors that I could get through while changing colors by row and then doing the body in its own color. So that worked out really well. I love how this turned out. This did take me a significant amount of time, but I'm also working on tweaking the pattern itself. In fact, I didn't make this one from the pattern. I made this one from trial and error as if it was the first one all over again, and then wrote the pattern down after I was done. I also found a new method for making the strap that I'm going to use on the next one of these that I make. So when I get done with the hat, that's what I'll be moving on to next, is making one from the now written pattern using the other method. So this one is the thermal stitch, which takes forever to make. And it really, really adds a lot of time. Like, I think I spent over an hour alone on just the strap. And I'm almost positive I did, because it is 200 chains in length. You're working longwise as you do this. And it's basically crocheting over the prior row all over again. It's almost like you're only advancing half a row each time you make a pass, because it's the thermal stitch. It's great. It doesn't stretch, but I did search when I got done with this and see if there was a different method that I could try for making the strap that would help speed things up a little bit, because for a market make, it's just simply not practical to spend an hour and a half on just the strap alone when the rest of the pattern barely takes that long to do. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to time myself again, and I'm going to try the new method and see if I can get this pattern or this make down to the amount of time that I would like to see it at to justify that $25 price point. If it has to be $28, I think I could be okay with that, but I would really like to get it down to the $25 price point, because I think that is going to be the sweet spot for these to sell. And that's it for today. I will check in some more. Oh, that's not it for today. I just glanced up. One more thing that I made is I found this pattern, and the maker is LCK Crochet. And I have been stalking this pattern for weeks because her Instagram has been loaded with different themes and different styles and different modifications for this pattern that she released for a bookmark. And I say bookmark It's a book thong. I love this. I saw this and was like, that is cute. I have been thinking about doing bookmarks for a while. I do the AR Serendipity Designs Gliding Dragons, which can be a bookmark. And I tell customers that when they come, I'm like, it can be used as a bookmark, it can be used as a coaster, or it could just be a finger puppet. I mean, it's very versatile, but this is hilarious. I love this. I could see this being a cheeky little gift for a reader friend, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. I mean, honestly, I think these are for anybody that reads and that has a silly sense of humor. I just think these are perfect. This one I intentionally did super basic. Don't ask me why I decided to make my first one ever in black. It was a choice, and we'll leave it at that. But I intentionally made it super basic because I wanted to see, I was so excited to just dive into the pattern, but B, I wanted to just see how it worked up as a very basic. She gives you 3 different options for the lace edging. So I did the first option. This is the Pico lace, and it's great. I love it. This yarn is thicker than what the pattern calls for. I just balanced that out by dropping down a hook size as well. And I have some thick books on my shelves, so honestly, I wanted one that was a little bit thicker to hold in that thick book. But when you get it on a book, do I have a book? I had a book. I don't have a book. I do have a book. I have my journal. So when you get it in the book, and then does this kind of fit over my journal? Yeah, this will fit over my journal. Which I find this to be the most hilarious thing. When you get it on your book, it just slides right over. Oops, let's straighten it out. So it just slides right over your book to hold your place. It looks like you just grabbed a pair of underwear to use as a bookmark, which I find hilarious. And then when you open it up on the inside, it's just so unserious, and I love it. I love things like this. So what I want to do is I want to get some bookish charms and like maybe bracelet charms and add little charms to the front right here. I want to do different color themes. I really want to lean in and have so much fun for this. And I have a market that I applied for in 2026, the only market I've applied for so far, that is a Valentine's Day, a Cupid's arrow market. And I thought a make like this would be perfect for a market like that, where they are specifically looking for adult gifts for each other. Not adult as in not safe for work adult, but it could be, but cheeky little adult gifts. And I thought this was so cute. Love that. Go get this pattern. It's so fun. I love it. And you can do so many. Her modifications are so great. She's done pies, like pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. She did a whole like cocktail series where they're basically turned into little martini glasses. I love it. The possibilities are endless. I want to get some dragons, maybe some snowflakes, some hearts, some cherries. I want to have fun with that. Maybe some little books. Yeah, some little charms though, and add it to the front of the undies, because I just think the thongs, they're so cute. All right, that's gonna do it for today's check-in. I will check in some more before this video goes live next week, and keep you up to date with the things that I am working on as I prep for these final 2 markets. All right, bye for now. Hello, I am back. It is Monday evening time, and I realized that the goal that I had for being a little bit more aggressive with filming and creating content this past week did not happen. I have been taking care of myself and members of my family. We've had the flu. I haven't had the flu, but everybody else in my family has had the flu. So it's been a lot. So of caretaking, of maintaining health, of trying to get in exercise, of realizing I might need a little bit more rest than exercise right now. So it's been busy. That said, I have been continuing my markets prep. I still have time. I have plenty of time, thank goodness, because I've got lots to do. As you can see, I am once again knitting. That was not the plan for this week's video, to just be like, I'm gonna sit and knit every time I talk to y'all. But that's what ended up happening. I did, however, want to hop on and share all of the things that I have been able to make, because there's been quite a lot of makes over the past week, in between all of the other things and the additional rest and fluids and caretaking that have been going on. There's been a lot of makes. So let's get into it. I'm going to put down my knitting needles for a hot minute and grab my trusty bin that I love to share from. Of course, this is always in somewhat no particular order. It's just sort of how things have piled into the bin as I've worked on them. But the list that I'm working from is still the printed out versions of the lists of my inventory lists of what I need to make. I am on to the last two items that were officially on my winter list, which is this beanie. It is not the same rib knit beanie that I was making last time. This is a different beanie. I'll make sure to show, because I was looking through for photos of it and I don't have any photos from the last time I made them. So I will definitely take some photos of this beanie because it's really pretty. It does color work. It's called Pagadi. It's a Ravelry download, and the designer is Verily Knits, and it's just lovely. I made it as a gift a couple years ago for my son, and I just earmarked the pattern as like a fun, relatively quick, not too quick, but relatively quick, fun make. And it's a good way to work with color because it has, the way that the stripes work up is you're pretty much only working with one color at a time for each row, but the way that you're doing a combination of slip stitch and whatnot, it creates these horizontal and vertical lines in it, and it's really pretty. I'll make sure to get a picture so that I can share that. Probably not by tomorrow, since just cast on, but if I get a picture, or if I get it done tonight, I will take a picture so I can add it to the video. So I'm making two different sizes of that. I have two. I would like to have two more, one of each size. So I have a small and a medium. And then I feel like my hats and whatnot will be in a good place after this week, in addition to just general like winter makes. So what have I made? I have made a couple of rose turtles. I love these. Passionate Crafter is the designer behind these. Same designer for the sunflower turtles, the daisy turtles, the regular sea turtles that I do. I really love their pattern. It's just beautiful, and I love how it works up. I love the size too. It's a nice weighty size, which is nice. I don't put any weighted beads pellets in these. This is just polyfill, but with the weight, especially of the rose, with the weight of the yarn that goes into it, because you make the flippers and the head, and then you work the body, but you start by creating this spiral, and then you go back and add the petals secondly. So it's quite a bit of yarn, and it has some heft to it naturally that I really like. It's very snuggly, it's very cozy. It's a great winter make. And I know roses could be any time of year, but I especially love roses in the winter because they're a very giftable flower. It's often picked up for brightening up color, anniversaries, lovers. Roses in winter just go together for me. So I did two. I initially was going to make them both with the smoky green Bernat base body, but then I saw that I love how this works with the Merlot. So then I decided I did want to make a bright red rose as well, and I decided to use the Spearmint Mystical, and I like how that worked out. So I have a very bright, saturated color rose and a very desaturated, muted rose. And of course, I have my embroidered eyes on them. Very cute. The next thing that I made is a replenishment of the one snowman that I sold at my last market. Again, this is a free Instagram pattern by Cute Stuff Crochet. Everything will be linked as usual down in the bottom. And I had previously done, the one that sold was the Merlot hat, but I did this more purpley burgundy color this time. I kind of liked, I saw it sitting there and I thought it would look nice for the snowman. So very cute. I'm now back to 5. If I get through my list, my whole list before the next market, I will be coming back to make more snowmen because I just think this is a really cute, good wintertime, holiday time make. And it's, I mean, I love that you can have it sit on your desk. It could make a great little gift. It makes a great little add-on to a gift. I just love them. Oh, and I should probably say hook and yarn. So I did say this was Bernat blankets. This is the Mystical. This is regular blankets. Both of these are regular blankets. This is Spearmint, Crimson, Merlot, and Smoky Green. Whole turtle was made with a size 5mm hook. I like nice tight stitches when I do amigurumi, so I dropped down even from, that's actually going up in size from what the pattern calls for. I believe the pattern calls for a 4mm. I know most people use between a 6 and a 7 with Bernat. I use a 5, so 5mm hook. For the turtle, same 5mm hook, Bernat baby blanket in white, and then I forget what color the purple is. I want to say it's burgundy. I do want to say it's burgundy. I had previously used it to make stingrays, so yeah, I want to say it's burgundy in the hat. So those are those two. Next is a baby seal. I have 4 baby seals already made that I've been bringing to markets. I had originally written down that I wanted 5, and then I got distracted in making the 5th one and made a mama seal instead, which was a different pattern entirely. All by False Bubbles on YouTube. So she has a tutorial where the pattern's written out in the description, or you can watch the video to get the full pattern. And it's a really cute, quick make. The original design is low sew. I went for a no sew option this time, and it was the first time I did it. So normally you make a separate piece for the snout and then sew it on. I did do that and start off doing that, but then after I made the body and sewed on the snout, I didn't like how it kind of got hidden into the face, and that was something I had kind of been seeing with my seals the prior times I have made them. So I went back, I frogged the piece that I had made, and I just inserted my hook and did 2 surface crochet bobbles instead where the snout was, and I like that a lot for this. I think it looks nice. I like how it adds the little chubby like cheeks and gives it more texture and relief and contrast between the snout and the face. So I'll be doing that from now on. But a very cute pattern, very quick make, and he's adorable. This one was made in Bernat Forever Fleece, which I have other Forever Fleece pieces in here to show off from this past week. But, you know, I was sitting at my desk and I was looking at actually making the seal out of this blue color. And I was like, you know, I have a white, I have a blue, I have a pink, and I have a variegated like grays and neutrals. I'm like, this spearmint green would be really cute. And the Forever fleece is so incredibly soft. It shows the stitch definition more than Bernat Blanket even does. Like, we can take my turtle as an example on the other side, and you can see the stitches are defined, but they kind of just make a fabric, whereas this, it is still a fabric, but the stitches are so much more defined and pronounced. But you know what? I like it. I think it's cute, and I like how soft, and yeah, I like how soft it is. It feels nice. I think if people touch this, they're going to be sold by touching the seal. Not that Bernat isn't soft to begin with, but the fleece especially, it just has this very smooth, silky feel to it that I thought worked well for a seal. Also made a pair of fingerless mitts. This is called the cross stitch mitts pattern. This I make in pretty much one size. The pattern has one size, but it has modifications depending on what weight yarn you're using. So this I made in the extra bulky. This is the Lion Thick and Quick recycled. I forget what that line is called, but acai colorway. And I just found these really pretty. I love the purple, the light purple. The designer on this, let's see, I'm trying not to cover my face. For the cross stitch, again, I will get it together one day, but until then, my computer's right here, we can look it up. So the cross stitch, Little Golden Nook designed the cross stitch fingerless gloves. And I mean, these are the first and only pattern I've ever made for markets. I have made other fingerless gloves. I keep saying to myself that I will revisit some of the other fingerless gloves that I have made. This is not the first and only. I am a dang liar. I have also done amiguitos for markets, which is this one. Oops, that's the wrong hand. I actually make this fit to hand. It's a lace sock weight yarn version. This one isn't in my finish those. It's a whip because I ran out of yarn to finish the other one. So I also have this design that I have one pair done and in my booth to sell, but these have sold. And they're great. They work up real fast, watching TV at night, and they're warm. I love how warm they are. Oh, and they look good. Plus, I found this pattern when I was big into cross stitching, and the name got me, cross stitch. I was like, yes. What it is it's a crossing of half double crochets. I won't give the whole pattern away, but there is two versions, or are two versions. One is a straight half double crochet to make the gauntlet, and the second is to cross them. And I do the crossed version because I just love the texture that it comes up with. So pretty. I love it. And so that's by Little Golden Nook. I did these in, it's a super bulky weight yarn. The rib was done in the 5mm hook. You do use a smaller hook for the rib, and then the main gauntlet was done with the 6mm hook. So it gets a little bit naturally bigger. Mine don't really, I'm noticing, but they fit nice. I mean, they feel good on my hands, so that's good. Nice. Cool. Next up, lots of winter knits or makes this time around. The remaining things are all headwear, believe it or not. I have done quite a bit in hats, not a whole lot of plushies. So this is a quick and simple ear warmer. I revisited doing them in crochet. I forget what blog that I grabbed this pattern from, but it's a very basic, I mean, you knit or crochet a ribbed strip and then do a kind of like a zigzag fold and sew it together in the middle to form the knot. I had switched over to knitting the strip, and for this one I went back to the crochet. And last year I was having a hard time keeping the strip straight and the count the same row to row with the crochet. And this year I wanted to give it another try because I've been crocheting a whole lot more than when I was doing it last year. I don't know why I have to put headwear on, but I do. This is cute. It's really cute, and it's soft. It's the Forever Fleece again. I love it so much. But I was having a hard time keeping the stitch count straight, so I switched over to knit because that was a little bit easier for me. But then this time I wanted to give it a go, and this worked out really well, and it worked up quickly, and it's, yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is my largest size for these, which is why, I mean, it was a little bit big on my head. My hair is crazy today, but yeah, this is my largest size for these headbands. I had sold a couple of large ones recently, so I wanted to get another one back in the booth. And yeah, once again, I want to say this was the 6mm hook again. Yeah, 6mm hook, Bernat Forever Fleece. Oh, I should probably discuss pricing on things. I don't remember all my prices. So I know this one I sell for $20. I know the mitts I sell for $20. The snowman I sell for $12. The seal is either 12 or 15. I can't remember. He looks like a 12 to me, so I'm gonna say 12. And then the turtles, I believe, are 28 for the rose turtles, which, I mean, it's a good size for 28, but no sew. The rose does take some time because you have to make the spiral and then go back and make the petals separately. So yeah, that brings us up to speed. Next up, I made a couple of, and I won't be putting these on because everything else I believe is small sized. Yeah, kid sized. So I made a couple more of my granny square beanies. The sunburst granny squares. I did this orangey, yellow, pinky with a tan base color. And then I did the green using a gray base color. And I love these. I had not intentionally made small sized ones of this hat before. There's no pattern for this. I made this up, I'm gonna be honest. I was working on, oh, what is their name? Oh, it's gonna bother me. There's the blanket. I was making the blankets, the Island Time blanket. Who makes that? Who designs the Island Time blanket? Mallory Crawl, but that's not the name. Not a Crawl Crochet. I'm like, they have a name that they publish under. Not a Crawl Crochet has the Island Time blanket, and I was making the Island Time blanket last year. I had made one for myself, and then I was making one for my book club as a book blanket. I took color inspiration from all of the books that we had read in the year. So there were 11, I think, because we don't read one in December. We meet once a month and we don't read one in December. So there were 11 books, and I took the cover art for each book and picked out the five colors from the cover art and made the blanket. Since the granny square, it's a sunburst square, so you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the actual square part around the outside. And I made a flat blanket for my book club for a gift exchange. So when I started making items for sale for my booth and for space for sunflowers, I really love making this granny square. I love this granny square. You can tell because it's a common motif. I shared earlier the water bottle crossbody sling, same granny square. It's that sunburst granny square. I just really love it. I love the look of it. It's fun to make up. There's a variety of stitches. So none of the rounds are exactly the same. You do a round of double crochet, you do a round of puff, you do a round of 4 double crochet cluster, kind of. It's not like a granny cluster though, where you complete the double crochet. It's unfinished. It's a round of 4 unfinished double crochet, and then you finish them all off together to make a cluster, and then the final round is the same thing but with 5. And I just love that. I love that. It looks like a flower. It looks like a sunburst. It looks like a bunch of things that I love. So anyway, I started experimenting with making it a hat. And I just love how these turned out. Well, one thing that I have been getting feedback on at my booth is people ask frequently if I have this design in kid size for toddlers, for babies. And I don't. I've just been making, because the square typically is based on 16 stitches. So it makes a significantly bigger hat. I actually got one here because I'm working on making another medium adult sized one. And you can see the circle is much bigger when it's based around 16. So let's put that there. Yeah, see, it's a lot bigger. So I'm like, they're all kind of different sizes because of gauge and what hook I grabbed, but no, they're all essentially the same size. You kind of have to try them on. So this was the first time I tried making an actual child size beanie, and I think it worked. Instead of using 16, I dropped down to the next count of 4, which is 12, and I based each round on 12 stitches. So there's 12 doubles, 12 puffs, 12 clusters, and then on the sides, each side has the corner plus 2. So corner plus 2, corner plus 2, corner plus 2, all the way around. And it made a smaller size hat. It does not fit on my head, so I'm not going to fit it on my head, but it's a good size for a small child. So this is my successful small sized crochet granny square beanie hat. And I did the green and I did the orangey color as well. And then I do switch over when I do these. So I also successfully attached, because I like to attach as you go. So I did the final round doing the attach as you go method. I did all the sides of the top, and then I attached just the top edge of each square around, and then I went around and finished the rest of the sides and attached them together, so that way I could just work in one continuous process to get it all attached. Once that's done, I then pick up and knit the bottom to make the rib. So this is the only piece that I have that is both knit and crochet in my booth. And again, I don't have a pattern for it because I kind of just made it up and keep working on it as I make these. But I do about 5 rounds to make the rib at the bottom. And I love how they come out. I think they come out really cute. I don't know, maybe I should write up the pattern. I don't know. It would mostly be a pattern in terms of construction and sizing, because those are the things that I had to figure out. The granny square is an existing granny square out there. So, I mean, I don't know. Let me know if you'd like the pattern for my granny square, my sunburst beanie. I love how, because it's unblocked right now, like it's not on your head, so this keeps bubbling, but it doesn't do that. I also like how if you hold it flat, like I always have to flatten it this way because it looks less square than if you just, let it, like when you're done, it straight up looks like a box when you're done. And then I always make sure to flatten them and let them sit flat with the seam in the center. Oh my goodness, I'm yawning. So that they look less square. But I just love these. They're so pretty. So I hope these sell. The adult size I had been selling for $35. I don't know, the child size, the baby size, I might bring it down to, I don't know, maybe 30, maybe 28. I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna price these at. But yeah, I love making these. I would like to make these more than any other hats because I really do love these hats. I love them so much. I love these and I love the headbands. Those are probably my two favorite headwear to make right now. Not that I don't like other headwear, because I do have a couple more rib knit beanies. This was the one that I was working on. Finished it. And then this was another one that I made up that I wanted to do a color block style. So I did the burnt mustard. This isn't burnt mustard. This is sunshine. And then this is the acai again in that Lion brand recycled chunky weight yarn. Size 7 knitting needles. And then this is the Hipstamatic pattern, once again, from Nori Chan. And I love it. This one is warm, this Forever Fleece. Oh my goodness, on my hand is getting warm. Not that this isn't, because this is what I made the mitts out of, and that keeps my hand nice and warm. But oh my goodness, if you're gonna be somewhere cold, let me tell you, this Forever Fleece, this keeps the heat in. It's toasty. So that's what I have made so far. Tonight I am working on a couple more knit hats. So I have a couple of color work options. It's honestly, I'm doing the green. So this one was the green with the silver, the gray offset. I'm doing the green this time with the tan offset for my Pagadi hat. And then I have one more to make for the small. I'm not sure what color I'm gonna make yet. I know I have a blue one. I don't think I have this one, but I think I have this color red already, which is sort of like a purpley red. And this would go well. I might do this again and put this with the silver this time. I don't know. I like mixing it up. So that's that. After I get those two things done, I get to move then into my year-round makes and start fleshing out that list. My winter makes list only had 14 items on it. I crossed one item out because it was one of my snow people ornaments. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue carrying those. They did sell last year, but I still have quite a few left. So I think since it's only a holiday make, it's not even something that I could like carry forward into like January, February, even a little bit of March for like end of season. It's really just a holiday make. I think I might just let what I have be for this year and then remake those if I would like to in upcoming years. I probably also need to adjust the price on those because I now have the little snowmen at $12 and I think I have those priced at $15, which when you're looking at it, it's just the head and a bow, either a bow on the head or a bow around the neck, and that's it for those. And they are around a Christmas ball. So they do hang and they are stuffed with a Christmas ball, but I don't know if it's, I think I could probably sell those also for 12. So yeah, so beyond that, my next big things, I do have, this feels like it's a lot of one-offs. But again, my winter stock, I was pretty well good on because I had started winter stock making earlier in the season, and then I was also still making some fall items. In the past few markets, like things from both have sold, so I still have quite a bit of inventory for the winter. My year-round stuff though is starting to get a little thin. I have several items that I have to make for, including 5 gliding. I have on this list 5 gliding dragons, just the basic granny square dragon, and then another one of the flower dragon. So I've got quite a few of those to make. That's like 6 little dragons that I need to make. So yeah, lots of things to round it out, but we are working our way through. So yeah, optimistic to get through. I'm pretty excited that almost 1 week in, I've gotten the first list done. That would be 11 items that I've made this week off of the list. That's not counting the items that I was making before I printed the lists out and shared in the prior update in this video on Friday. I had 14 items on the list. I crossed one out. That brings it down to 12, and I have 2 left to make. No, that brings it down to 13. Wow, I can't math. Okay, 14, cross one out. That's down to 13. 2 more to make. That means 11 items were made from this list. The second list is a little bit more scary though, because it's got 62 items on it, which is me being nice and realistic in my goals. So we'll see. As always, thank you for hanging out with me. I will hopefully be sharing more behind the scenes this week, since it's another week without a market at the end of it, and we'll just be doing a whole lot more prep before the following week, where I have my final 1 to 2 to maybe even 3 markets. There's another one that has been on my radar and I've been debating applying for it, and then I got into the Fa La La Festival, which is now on the same day, and then I saw the other day that the other market is still putting out call for vendors until the 1st of December, so maybe I'll apply. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see.